Yeah. Good morning. It is 10:12, and it's a Friday, and I'm excited because we have some friends in, and we're going to be talking about some stuff that's going on in the community and how you can get involved. First, I want to shout this out: the Bear Fruit Bakery. They are located in Texas City, and this is off 6th Street. This is the brand new location that just opened, I believe, next to Hey Mikey's.
Hey Mikey's, correct.
And that's no joke. First of all, this bear looks like he has it going on. He has like a big old fruit thing on his head. Ethan, can you hand me that so I can show off this? It's a big old cinnamon roll.
Mm-hmm.
This is heavy. There's some weight in this.
Yeah, it's enough to feed a small village. Yes.
Ooh, so this looks really good. So Bear Food Bakery, how long? They've just been open
I think 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks. And they're doing an amazing job. Yeah, it's been great. Great for the community.
Yeah. And there's still some room on 6th Street. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. So shout out to Bear Fruit Bakery.
That's it.
Go check them out on 6th Street in Texas City. So let's switch it on the FM, and then I'm going to get my guests introduced, and we're going to learn everything that they have going on and that how you can get involved as well. So here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Right now it is 10:14 on a Friday, and we are back. So I was talking to PowerFit Meals about some of the ways that you can plan for 2020, which is nuts to say, new decade, and we are spreading some positivity this morning. I have some guests in studio. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and share everything that they have going on. I'm going to start with you, Tom.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Tom Munoz, Emergency Manager, Homeland Security Director for the City of Texas City, and proud to say a board member with CASA.
With CASA. And so we got Connie. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Can you talk about CASA? So it's CASA of Galveston County.
Yes, and CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate. And it is a national organization that started more than 45 years ago. And CASA of Galveston County is a local program. And we are a volunteer-driven organization that serves abused and neglected children in our community.
Yeah, so this is specific to Galveston County, but 45 years ago, this organization, did it start somewhere else?
It did. It started in Seattle, Washington, and now there are more than 950 programs nationwide, and in Texas, there are 72 local programs.
Okay, and the one in Galveston County, I'm looking at some numbers right here, but it looks like y'all have been able to affect a lot of local kids' lives.
That's correct. We've been in the community for more than 20 years. We've been a independent nonprofit for 5 years now, and in the last 3 years, we've grown more than 1,000% service to children. In this last fiscal year, we served more than 442 children in the community.
How long have you been involved with this organization?
The local program, I've been involved for 4 years, but I've been involved in child welfare for more than 20 years.
What is it that made you, pursue where you are today? How did you end up working in this organization?
My professional career started in human resources in corporate America, and my husband and I became foster parents for children in the foster care system, and we built our family and adopted 3 children that were foster children. And one day, sitting in the courtroom, I realized that my voice as a foster parent wasn't as powerful as the voice of a court-appointed special advocate. So that's how I became involved more than 20 years ago with CASA.
What is a court-appointed special advocate? What does that mean?
So we are a court-appointed special advocate is a special extraordinary volunteer, and they are appointed by the court to serve as the best interest voice for abused and neglected children. And once abuse and neglect is a case opens in the court system, a judge appoints a CASA to serve that child's voice in court. And although they have an attorney that's appointed for their wishes, best interests and wishes are not necessarily always aligned. And so we need to make sure that children return to safety and security, and that they have their health, emotional health, their physical health, and their education looked out while they're in foster care.
Yeah, so there will be the child, and they have a voice, and they'll be able, maybe an attorney that's appointed, and then you have the CASA, the advocate that y'all help, and how do you pick they're volunteers, so they have to go through a process, and then then they're able to help these kids?
They are, and I guess one of the ways to kind of look at what a court-appointed special advocate is, we are considered the eyes and the ears of the judge and the community. So a judge can't necessarily go to the home or to the school or talk to the doctor. So they rely on the information that a court-appointed special advocate gathers outside of the courtroom to bring back and raise concerns or recommendations to remedy whatever the child needs. And so an advocate is a community member who wants to affect the life of a child. And yes, there's an application process, lots of background checks, and most importantly is a 35-hour training that they have to complete. And then you're actually sworn in as an officer of the court.
Wow.
To serve in that powerful role.
Tom, you work with the city and for the city of Texas City, and you always have a lot going on. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of positive stuff going on, and sometimes we have issues, but you have to, I've seen you on the news before. You're very busy, but you find time for an organization like this. Why did you choose to get involved with this?
Well, unfortunately, though, I was exposed to this system. So as a kid, right, as a child, and so, I think God puts things in our lives to either make it a negative or a positive. And then I was part of the United Way, and then I met Connie, and I remember listening to what they did, and having that opportunity as a kid. The whole court system is a very scary thing. Mm-hmm. It's a scary process for a kid who doesn't have a voice. And then, later it seems like it was institutionalized. It's like you kind of knew the steps. If I would have had something such as CASA growing up, I think would have made life a little easier. This is an organization that when I saw, and I was blessed that, Connie reached out and said, hey, would you like to be part of a board? And then there is an application process, and I think that's probably one of the most stressful things. I kept on calling, hey, man, am I going to get in? Am I going to get in? But that gave me the opportunity to give forward and to utilize that negative into a positive where, I was telling Connie before we came in here, there's a lot of bad in this world, but this is the good that people have to see. And I think to give a child a voice, and she mentioned the key word, emotional support, mm-hmm. and having that somebody's got your back per se. That was why this board it means a lot to me. And I know as busy as I am, those are one of the things that, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It is very rewarding to be part of a group that actually wakes up and cares, not that people don't, but just being in that focus, but being part of the system. I think this was an opportunity, and it was an opportunity that was presented that gives me the options to go see what's happening and to make a difference.
Yeah. So CASA of Galveston County, that's what we're talking about. So the advocate, the volunteer, do they have time to sit down and talk to the kid to see what their wishes are? Do they just, hey, this is what I am, and I'm just kind of observing? Do they have a friendship or a bond of some kind?
Yes, most definitely. And the advocate is probably one of the most consistent adults in the life of a child as they track their journey through the child welfare system. The advocate meets with the child minimally every single month. And they're also visiting them in the home. They're visiting them at school. Many of our advocates go to school functions, see them out in their sports, extracurricular activities. They get to know the child very intimately. That way they can advocate most appropriately for what the child needs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned a lot of times the kids may not have their own, they don't know it, but this is what they've been raised in or experienced, so they don't realize, like, hey, there's something different. There may be a better life. So the advocate can come in and say, like, hey, this is what the child's wishes are, but the attorney's not going to be able to potentially go there every day, but the volunteer will.
Yeah. I think what's really important to know is the goal is always reunification. Mm-hmm. Parents have a right to raise their children, and children want to be home because that's their parents and they love their parents. But if their parents can't keep a safe home, then the child needs to be somewhere else. until safety can be secured. Because we don't want trauma affects children for their lifetime. And we don't want to keep exposing children to trauma that we can avoid. And so we want to make sure that we're advocating most appropriately, but always in the very beginning. Reunification is the goal.
Here's a question. This question's from Joel. He wants to know, is there an age limit to become a volunteer, and what kind of requirements straight off the bat before you go through any checks?
Sure. You have to be at least 21 years of age, and it's about 5 to 12 hours a month is your time commitment.
Okay, so be able to commit that time and 21, and then go through some kind of screening, background checks, and then a training. I think you said like 35 hours?
Yes, and we ask for a minimum of a 1-year commitment to the child.
Okay. And once you have that child, is it like one volunteer per child, or do you have multiple children that you may be able to help?
So usually the advocate is appointed to the family. So there may be one child, it might be 5 children, depending on how many children in the family.
The family situation.
That's correct.
Okay. So we're talking about Galveston County, CASA of Galveston County, and this is an opportunity that you can volunteer if you want to help and affect local kids. So are y'all a nonprofit as well, or are y'all
We
an
are a
organization?
nonprofit, yes.
So if people want to support in that way, maybe they can't volunteer, they're able to support you guys?
Yes, and they can go to our website at casagalveston.org/give.
Okay. Let's see. Right now it is 10:24. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. We're talking to Mr. Tom Munoz, and we're talking to Connie Ricketts about CASA of Galveston County. If you have any questions, feel free to go to our Facebook page as we are streaming live on there. If you're listening on 99.5 FM and you have any questions or thoughts, you can always text me 346-704-1806 or go to social media and type it in there. Ethan, you're a young guy, right?
Yeah.
And I know your parents. I know your mom. She's awesome. You have a great family. But you're not 21 yet, so you can't volunteer.
I cannot.
Do you have any ways or like brainstorming ways that you could maybe get involved? Maybe, I guess, like social media sharing is the one thing that comes to mind.
Or maybe if I did like a Facebook fundraiser or something to donate. Like how people do like for their birthdays, they're like, oh, for my birthday, instead of like getting me gifts, if you guys could just like donate to, this organization is close to my heart, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's also Giving Tuesday, which we just got passed after, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday. And I saw some Facebook fundraisers that way. That's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. Is that something that people did? Were people able to give on Tuesday? Did y'all notice anything that day?
We did, and we had many of our stakeholders did donate on Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
That is a great day, but Giving Tuesday is only one day out of the year. And so there's always opportunity every day of the year to give back.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, who are some other people that are involved, on the board with you as well? Is there anybody I know?
Connie and I got Tim Axe is there quite a bit. He's been a big part of that too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just got in. Really, November was my first meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Right
Okay.
before the holidays, so it means it's extra special too for me. Right before the holidays,
Yeah.
And able to give back.
It's very important to give back, especially in the holidays. I try and teach my son, he's 7, about that. Like, hey, we're fortunate and you're going to get Christmas presents, but there's a reality out there where if you need to, we need to teach our kids to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Pretty much, and especially during this holiday season.
Absolutely.
So, hey, were you at the Texas City Parade the other day?
Unfortunately, I was out in Houston.
Handling some business?
Yeah, we were. Well, actually, I was in Austin, as a matter of fact, at the Senate committee hearing on that one for mass violence and community safety of all things. So,
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty neat. So, yeah.
Is there people from all over the state that go to that?
Pretty much. It was myself, Mike Matranka, and we had Constable show up too, and then some guys from Houston and Austin. So it was a good Senate committee in front of Senator Taylor and Senator Huffman and stuff. So it was good. A lot's been going on, and with CASA doing that, and it's just been it's been a good month. Marathon last night, I was telling them that they donated $200,000 to the city to allow us to buy a mobile command unit. That we're gonna need.
I saw the pictures. I was like, is that I was like, that's the giant check, $200,000. That's cool. Marathon.
Yeah, of course. That was good. We had that. So it's been a lot.
I see Connie's like, well, so what needs to happen is we need Tom to use those marathon connections to kind of, maybe support another local organization.
Yeah. Those are the things, man. Like this organization just does amazing things, and
yeah.
But I'll tell you, we've been blessed. We have a great community, awesome community, and everything from public and private partnerships, with Connie, and then we do a lot of work with Gulf Coast, the mental health authorities, and just everything they do with crisis, and it's a great team effort,
Yeah.
And it's really work out of love. That's what I was telling Connie, that it's just you love to do this.
Yeah. Connie, you mentioned that you were a foster parent and then you ended up adopting children, right?
Yes.
So what does the holiday season, Christmas time, look like for foster kids? Because I'm sure it's not the easiest situation, but I mean, are there organizations that, do they get presents? Do they know, or just like it's another day at school? Like, what does that look like?
So for our organization, we have what we call our Christmas Angels. Their name is Paul and Fallon Mitchum. And for the last 5 years, they have adopted all of our children that we serve. And that's almost 300 children. And they have, they go out and bring their family and friends, and the children create a wish list. And today is the day they're going to be delivering all the gifts to our office. And then our volunteers will come on Monday, and we have a big wrapping party, and then they will go out and deliver all the gifts to the children.
That's awesome.
It's really awesome. And this year we also have had the Galveston County Health District. Some children that came into care recently in November were not on the original list to get gifts, and so they went out and took 40 children and bought gifts for them. So we're very grateful for them. We've had some other community members to donate money for any children that come into care that we will serve between now and the holidays, so they aren't left out. So we are so blessed.
There's an organization that throws birthday parties for kids living in care, and there's a gala taking place, which I didn't even like until I did KHEA radio. I guess I was oblivious. I didn't know like what a gala was. Like I was like, what's a gala? I was like, that's cool, and then you get to raise money for this great organization. So there's one taking place in January at another place that we know. But that whenever I first heard about what they did, I was like, okay, so there's kids that have never had a birthday party. There's kids that have never gotten a gift or a pillowcase. That's one of the things they do. They say they do these pillowcases whenever it's like a kid, in December they have a birthday. They each get an individual like thing, and they're so ecstatic, like this is mine. This is something that is mine, and I'm taking it, and I know it has my name on it. I don't have to share it. It's not used. The first time I heard about that, the reality, it just like broke my heart. And I was like, I want to do everything that I can to spread the word about how people can get involved and help out. These are local kids. These aren't living, they're local here, Texas City, wherever, in Galveston County. And this is a way that we can all get involved, volunteer, or raise money, or just there's all kinds of ways you can get involved. That's why I asked Ethan earlier. I was like, there's things I'm not even thinking about. But if you have an idea, let us know, and we can see if it's possible.
Yeah, no, and I think, what Connie mentioned, those are the things that, and then the other group I always think about, too, is the senior citizens. There's this huge thing that, they all have somebody to take care of them. And we have a great senior under Dennis, service under Dennis Harris and Lenora Mendez, who, with the city, and God, they do some amazing work, and little things like you realize that, small, even just a blanket for Christmas means a lot. And, those type of things. And like I say, that's one of the fortunate things about our city. CASA, is a reminder that there is good people.
Yeah.
There really is. There really is. And those are the things that I love about this community. And like shows like yours, not too many people get free, cinnamon buns and...
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job.
Connie, where are you from?
Oh, I grew up in North Texas and moved away for about 14 years, and then I've been back here for about 4 years now.
Okay.
in Texas.
In Texas. So
Mhm.
you moved out of state?
I did.
Where?
I moved to New England, to Massachusetts,
Ooh.
where it's really cold.
Yeah.
I was at HEB yesterday and I saw some clam chowder on the bottom row of my Progresso soup thing, and that's what I think of. Like, I know it's like it's from a can.
It's not the same, right?
It's not the same.
It's even better
It's even better.
because it's from HEB. It's one of
It's
those
got to be good, right?
It's got to be good.
Texas pride, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, HEB is just a great community partner anyway.
Yeah, they do a lot as
They
well.
do a lot.
So, what was your favorite part about living in New England? Is there like good food up there, or
There's
is
lots
the
of
weather?
good food. Not the weather.
Seawater freezes.
What people don't realize in New England is that you can be in another state in like 15 or 20 minutes or an hour, where in Texas it takes you 12 hours to go from one side to the other. And so that was one of the most unique parts of living there, was being able to explore Vermont and New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all those neat little states in and around. In Texas, it takes you forever just to get anywhere.
I feel like they're so cute, you know, so small. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna hop over to Connecticut. It's like, you
Clam
guys,
chowder, you know,
yeah,
clam
eating
chowder
your
and a
clam
beer.
chowder,
Lobster
watching your
in Maine.
Super Bowl winning sports teams.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like,
right,
you
right.
guys are
like 12 in a row.
get out of here. Yeah, but we're glad you're back. So 4 years you've
I'm
been
glad
back
to
in
be
Texas.
back. I was meant to be here.
Yeah. And there's a lot of good that can still be done, and y'all are doing so.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna take a quick break on the FM. It's 10:33. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. All right, so we're still live on Facebook and recording video and everything.
we're still recording.
I have to make sure I remind everybody
We're
that.
still recording.
No, you weren't here. You weren't here the other day when that happened. But they didn't even say anything bad. It was a couple. You can go back and watch that show. It was like 4 days ago or something. Somebody said something, but I said it in the lead out. I was like, we're going to take a quick break on the FM. We're going to keep it going on KHEA, you know, record video, whatever. And then they were like, after they were like, wait, we were still recording? I was like, yeah. It's like, you didn't tell me. I was like, well, I didn't tell you specifically, but I said it out in the atmosphere.
I would think,
Yeah.
you get the message. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to make sure I say that. So.
That's good.
Just in case. So,
Saw Kurt out there. It was good seeing him.
yeah.
Yeah, and Dio said to tell y'all hello.
Yeah, I miss Dio.
Yeah, Dio.
What is it again?
Dio Ignacio.
Dio Ignacio.
Yeah, I always make fun of him. Is that Greek?
Aw.
He's a good guy, man. He's you know, really, he's a great asset to the city. Great asset.
Yeah,
You
he
know.
is.
And actually, the recordings that he's doing now, and by the way, great videos. They've been really good that y'all did for us.
Thank you.
On the public, and we're doing shelter. We're going to change it now to shelter indoors versus shelter in place. I think it makes more sense. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we were. We wanted to make sure we had the steps right, because I remember in the car I was like, "Do you stay in the car?" But there's so much that I've learned from working with you and doing, you know, the videos and the pump system and everything else. I'm just like, Psh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we got some great people working here at the city.
yeah.
We really do.
Yep. Cool. So you mentioned that you're married, right?
Yes.
Does your husband, is he able to help or at least support you in this organization?
He does. He's very passionate about CASA as well, because he knows the difference that we make. And so he participates in any way that he can, whether it's doing something around the office or helping at one of our fundraisers, or he's kind of the title husband, you know, husband of CASA. And so, yes, he's very supportive.
Cool.
And so are my children.
Yeah. And you have those three?
Mm-hmm.
3 kids?
And they all had CASA as a CASA volunteer in their life.
Wow. How many volunteers do y'all have? I was trying to find that on there. Like, how many people currently volunteer? Like, how many do y'all need? Or what's the idea? Is there like an ideal goal?
That's a great question. So we currently have about 125 active volunteers. Last year we had more than 150 that served. Some of them had served their time and moved on to other, you know, volunteer opportunities. But we have about 43 children that still need a CASA volunteer. And so there's always a need for more volunteers. So you can just imagine that you decide to volunteer and your case lasts more than, usually the typical case is about 2 years long, even though we ask for a minimum of 1 year commitment. We'd like you to stay for the entire time the child's in the child welfare system, just for that consistent, you know, adult that stays with them throughout and has the history of when they came in to when they leave. But sometimes the ebb and flow, sometimes the case may last longer. And so we don't have that available volunteer that we're thinking we're going to have 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
So there's always constantly we are recruiting and training. We host about 6 trainings a year. And throughout the community, we host information sessions about CASA 4 times a month. And you can find those on our website at casagalveston.org. We host one in our office in Texas City. We host one in Galveston at the Rosenberg Library, one at the Dickinson Library, and one at the Helen Hall Library. And we fluctuate the times when those are happening every month. And those are set all the way through February. So go to our website and find out when our recruitment and communications associate will be there to talk about CASA.
So I have a question. There may not be an answer for it, and I know every case is different, so that's probably why there isn't an answer, but I wanted to ask. So you mentioned the goal is to always get the children, the kids back with their family, with their parents. That's always the goal. When does it get to the point where I guess the judge is the person who makes the decision, like maybe they're not. We need to get them so if they're in foster care bouncing around, it may be better for them to be adopted. Is that just like a case-by-case basis? And do they do that even, like, I just don't know.
So, yes, it is a case-by-case basis, and the judge does make the final decision. And, we have federal laws and state laws that govern how a case is going to happen in the court system. And so there's court hearings that happen throughout the period of time that the case is open. And yes, usually 9 months into the 1 year time frame, you're looking at, are parents making a safe home for the children, or is there still a lot of work to be done? And so those decisions are made. Besides returning children to their family that they were removed from, we're always looking for relatives. And so that is, if they can't be at home with their parents at the time, that we want them to be with their relatives, grandparents, aunts, uncles, and kinship. Kinship can be someone that may not be biologically related, but can be someone that's really significant in their life. So they're always looking for those kind of connections for children before they go into foster care. But yes, and annually we host a Adoption Day celebration in Galveston, and it's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and we have a big celebration at the courthouse. And this year there were 10 children that were adopted into 9 families. Wow. And so it is a big celebration. There's lots of activities, and we decorate the courtroom. There's games and to celebrate forever families. There's
some organizations and just people and families that I've talked to who have gone through the adoption process, and from what I understand, and they told me, it can be pretty long and it gets very expensive. And I assume that's because they're doing checks and making sure, like you said, the process, you got to go through everything to make sure it's right. But should it be, I don't know, like easier is the right word, but if the screening's done, should it be more affordable to adopt?
That's a great question that I don't necessarily have a specific answer for. There is some support when families use the National Adoption Day Foundation and participate on National Adoption Day. And I'm sure that there's other resources out there that I'm not particularly aware of to help families alleviate some of the costs involved in adoption.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got a text from Ethan. He'll be right back. So we had the College of the Mainland graduation here last night. They do that, there's the one in May, and there's usually like multiple, and they pack it out. And then they had it last night, which I wasn't here, but I'm sure it was a good time. I didn't hear any complaints. I should have watched the live stream to critique it. I love that. Whenever you see like video, I'm like, just not, I don't know, in a positive way, of course.
Of course,
that's exciting.
Graduating, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but man, I love that we're able to do that because I guess as far as I know, unless they did it outside, it's one of the bigger facilities here. We seat about 4,000 people in there, and there's a bunch of great cameras and screens and seats and everything else. So, the College of the Mainland graduation last night. If you want to go back and watch it, I'm sure you can go to College of the Mainland's website. I want to stream it on the radio, though, and I've asked, but I've never been in the meeting when they do any of the agreement or negotiate. I was like, because I think about this. There's people like grandmas and anybody who's just maybe they're in a nursing home or someone can't leave the house for a health reason, so they could turn on KHEARadio.com, turn on their radio to 99.5 FM, and just listen to their friend, their child, their grandkid's name called. So that would be a cool thing. But I bring it up to like RP. I just need to go straight to Dr. Nichols and be like, you know what? I tried with my folks. Nobody's listening to me.
Dr. Nichols is a great guy.
He is a great guy.
We love Dr. Nichols. He's done some amazing things.
Yeah.
Awesome guy.
I had him in studio like a year and a half ago.
He's awesome.
I need to get him back.
We'll see him next Tuesday.
I'm going to tag him.
We'll see him next Tuesday at Rotary.
If you remember.
I'll tell him to call you.
Yeah, say, hey, Cardio KHEA Radio.
He's got to bring a cinnamon roll. So.
He has to one-up it.
He's got to bring two.
He's going to have to bring two. They got a chocolate cake one he's got to bring over, too.
Is like a cinnamon roll?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like a chocolate cake cinnamon roll?
Yeah. And they have Pop-Tarts that we're all did. She makes her own Pop-Tarts. So we're like there at 6:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I took some home. My kids are like, why does this Pop-Tart look different? Because you don't put it in a toaster and it's done right.
Yeah, it's like it's real. It's a real thing. Yeah,
you don't have to toast it. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What else have you had from there?
The Pop-Tarts. She's got a great chocolate cake and it's not a. Let's just say I got to work out a little harder.
It's great for the holiday season. A lot of times people get New Year's resolutions, in January.
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do. You don't put perimeters sometimes.
It's like I want to eat good food next year, like 2020. I want to eat more desserts.
Yeah, exactly.
More local businesses on 6th Street. More restaurant related. Places for sure. So
exactly,
man. So they're probably coming back in soon in the next couple of weeks, had the library in. And I love that, that renovation is supposed to be done sometime quick. The War Memorial Library there in Texas City.
Luke is amazing. Isn't
he is, which I'm sad that they're going to be opening only because Luke's been, I guess he's had a little bit more free time, but he's been in studio. And Luke is awesome. I love having him in here.
Yeah.
He is one passionate person about library.
Yes.
Yes, and we are all very excited for the new library to open up in our community.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
I tell Luke all the time, I'm like, are you ever sad? He's like always happy.
Like,
I was like, I wanna have what you're having.
Yeah. I saw some pictures posted from I think Memorial Library's Facebook page of some of the renovations, and it looks beautiful.
It's beautiful, yeah. It's very proud of that one.
If you ever ask Luke like what his favorite things to read are, just be prepared. And I'm not sure, maybe y'all enjoy the same kind of reading, but I was just like, he was listing and he went on to this stuff, and I was like, I feel like you're just making up people in books. I was expecting him to say like totally
like Dr. Seuss or something.
Well, like something like
you, me, and Kurt, right?
Yeah, he's like, I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings. No, it wasn't like the Lord of the Rings book. It was like stuff that I was like, you're making these things up.
Yeah.
It's like way deeper than anything that I've ever imagined. I was like, this book is probably about as thick as this cinnamon roll box.
We're used to like Sports Illustrated.
Yeah,
or something.
For kids. Oh man! So let's see. We got about 5 or 6 minutes left. Let me switch this back onto the FM. We'll talk for a bit more. Remind everybody how they can get involved in CASA. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. I'm Gardy. It's 10:46 on a Friday in December. Today's December the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th.
It's just a myth.
Is it? I guess we'll find out. We'll find. They always say like weird things happen on Friday the 13th. But this is out of the ordinary. So it's already begun. I got this Bear Fruit Bakery cinnamon roll right there from 6th Street delivered today. Cool logo. TheBearFruitBakery.com. So I'm gonna have to stop in there. and tell them thank you and try everything.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So, Tom, can you remind everybody, who you are, what you do? You do a lot of stuff in the community, and people may need to reach out to you for some reason. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. It was, yeah. No, Tom Munoz is the Emergency Manager, Homeland Security Director for the city of Texas City, and also a proud board member of CASA.
CASA. And we got Connie. You are the Executive Director at CASA.
Yes, I am.
Can you share what y'all do one more time?
I sure can. We are a volunteer-driven organization. We are a nonprofit here in the community, and we serve the abused and neglected children through the court system. We're appointed as the guardian ad litem for best interest, and we give an abused and neglected child a voice in the court that they might not necessarily have.
Yeah, and that's important.
It is a very important role.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think 45 years ago, this organization started.
Yes, in Seattle, Washington. A judge was sitting on the bench, and he was hearing, lots of information, but he felt like the real information that he needed could probably only come from a community member that wasn't part of some system.
Yeah.
And so he went out and found 50 of his friends. They came in, they trained, and that's how the first court-appointed special advocate program started. And now there's more than 950 programs across the nation and 72 here in Texas, and we're one of the local programs.
Will all of the attorneys that are they're court-appointed attorneys for these kids, I assume, right? For
yes,
the most
they
part?
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have a lot going on, and there's cases, and I'm sure they have the best interest for the children, but they don't have the opportunity to go to the house and talk and have that one-on-one bond every time, if at all, I assume.
Yes,
right?
and they do build great relationships as well with the children because they have to articulate their wishes in court. But they don't necessarily spend the detailed amount of time with the children that a CASA does. And we definitely collaborate with Child Protection Services and the attorneys and many of the service providers, as Tom mentioned, Gulf Coast Family Service Center. We're a United Way agency from United Way Galveston County mainland, and then so there is this collaboration and partnership in the community to serve these children in many ways.
Yeah. And earlier you mentioned the goal is to always get the kids and the children back to the home, as long as it's safe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's most important.
Yeah. And I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier, but you were talking about y'all help the abused and neglected, but and every situation is different. But what are some of the things that these kids are going through that they would have to get removed in the first place?
Mm-hmm. Well, most of our children, it's because of neglectful supervision, and our parents, they suffer from mental illness, and there is drug addiction. And so our community, really tries to rally around getting our parents well. And so they're left with not enough food. There's not enough, in the home to make sure that they are safe. And sometimes there's transient people coming in and out of their homes that keep them from being safe. So there's lots of different situations that bring children into care.
Okay. How can somebody get involved? What are the opportunities for someone like myself or anyone? Like, what are the different ways that somebody can volunteer or help with your organization?
I think one of the best ways is to become a court-appointed special advocate and be that voice. We do have 43 children currently that need a CASA volunteer. We serve them through our organization, but it's not the same as having their special advocate assigned. And you can go to our website, casagalveston.org, and go to the volunteer tab, and it gives you instructions on how to complete an application, when our trainings are coming up, and other information about information sessions and how to be involved.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out today. Is there anything else that y'all would like to share while y'all are here?
I would just like to say that April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, and we'll always host a candlelight vigil at the Justice Center in Galveston, but also you can sponsor a blue ribbon in honor or memory or just for a child that's in care. And so be on the lookout for that as the new year begins in 2020.
All right. Tom, anything you got?
Just be safe during the holidays. That's all I gotta say from the Homeland side. Don't pay over the phone. I'm the Homeland Security Director. IRS is not gonna make you pay over the phone and stuff. So any issues like that on top, definitely, as Connie mentioned, definitely support it from the city safety side. Give us a call. They can call us and have any doubt on anything.
That's going on right now, huh? Like these phone calls, people
and they're
like
getting
praying.
more and more creative. And tapping into your computer for Microsoft and none of that is it's just getting more advanced. So definitely call the office if you haven't. And you know how to get a hold of me. Any of those issues. And but just want to echo, and once again, thanks for everything you guys do for us as well. It's been great, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas to everyone.
All right. Hey,
thank you.
Yes, thank you all for hanging out. If you are watching on Facebook, feel free to share this stream out. And let us know if you have any questions, and I'll make sure we get those to the appropriate people, how you can get involved. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Bye, Facebook. Y'all be good. Have a good day.